Red Cup Talk with Bryan Adams. Let's get into it. No, we're not getting into it. Just hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you can be up to date with content as I drop it. Let's continue to grow this channel together. The camera's there. All right, let's go. How's y'all week? Thank God it is Saturday, right? Right. Man, oh man. Full show tonight. We're just going to get into it. Just flowing with it. I took some notes on some things that have went down recently this week. Before we get started, I wanted to give a moment of silence for Biggie Small's mom, Miss Violetta Wallace. She passed away recently at the age of 72. And they're saying of natural causes. Miss Wallace actually was a mom for Biggie, man. After he passed away, she continued his legacy. She moved on with his legacy. I remember seeing her all the time in the papers. I never got the chance to meet her. I never got the chance to be in the same space with the same room with her. But you know what I'm saying, her way of looking at life and his legacy, the legacy that Biggie Smalls left. She felt that it was important. Excuse me. She felt that it was important, as if any true mom should feel that way. You know, true parent, mom or dad for that matter, sister or brother, you know, any loved one, for a legacy that big, of that capacity for Biggie Smalls. But I will say this, I did not know that she was sickly like this, because I think I did a video recently on her short where she was talking about she never trusted P. Diddy. And she talked about how she always advised Biggie Smalls not to work with him, but to watch him. You know, have a close eye on him and stuff like that. And that little click, I get it. She felt vibes that she probably knew information that we didn't know nothing about, that had never been disclosed to us as fans, as artists, as an audience. So I can only respect the space that she was in and her mission, her strong mission. You know what I'm saying? She really, really set a course and she stuck to it. Wouldn't you want your mom to do that if circumstances were to take a change like his did? I would. So that's why I said I wanted to start this video by saying all the best to you, Miss Wallace. And you continue to rest in peace. And all the best to your family as you grieve, as they grieve through this time, and I pray that they for strength and wisdom so that they make the right decisions in during this time of bereavement. All the best to you. Wow. Okay. Who we got lined up here tonight? We're gonna talk about some things. We're gonna get into it. Now, like I said, I wrote down some things, but let me say this, because I'm in a space where I'm trying to like play around with the lightning and stuff. I didn't really do the whole house lights and everything. I just wanted to. I started off with the heater light. I don't know if you can see it through my glasses, but the heater light is on. I was red. I was like, I'm gonna give him that. I'm gonna give him Bryan Adams in red. But then I thought about it. I said, nah, I don't want to get too. It might get too hot now. I can cut it off. And if I cut that heat off, that's my light. So. But we got A$AP Rocky. Chris Brown. A$AP Rocky. Okay, so you know that he won his case. He got off. So he's a free man. You are now free to move aboard the country. How do they say in the airport? In the airplanes when you go up in the air. Chris Brown, he is transitioning into a legend. They are calling him a legend. They are calling him a superstar. He's always been a superstar, but wow, Chris Brown, a legend. We'll get into that. And then, of course, our Wendy Williams. We got to get into Wendy and get you guys up to date with what's going on with her, because it's looking up and up for her, but it's still kind of, I don't know. Still kind of wondering what's going on. But we're going to get into it. Let's get it going. A$AP Rocky. They said, man, he was looking at 20 plus years. I would have. Did you see the reaction of his in the courtroom when they told him that he was not guilty? Man, he got up and jumped across that thing. I ain't seen nobody leap like that since that case that was in, I think it was in Las Vegas, where a prison officer, the prisoner, when the judge gave him his ruling, he was able to leap across the aisle and up on her thing, and that was crazy. If you haven't seen it, look it up. That was crazy. That was a crazy, 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 crazy time. But A$AP Rocky is off. He got off. What can I say, brother? You know, that was a blessing. I would have been the same way, though. I would have been the same way. I would have jumped across that aisle. And not the aisle, but I mean, I would have, when he reached over there for Rihanna, and I know they probably... Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they're having a nice little... This is probably like a second honeymoon for them. They're not even married, right? Well, I think they are married. I think they might be married. They might be married. They might have gotten married already, and they just haven't produced it to the public yet, or let the public know. What you think? You think they got married already? I think they got married. I think they're already married. I think they did what Gabor Sidibe did. Remember, her and her husband, they got married. I think she took 2 years prior to them letting them know in that interview, when she was interviewing, she was like, she just didn't like weddings and stuff like that. Some people like that. They don't really care for all that attention and the spotlight. You know, I know some people that's like that. They don't really like being in the spotlight. I'm like this. Give me the spotlight. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'll take it. Now, what I do with it, that's my business. But I don't mind being in the spotlight. So that's cool. But anyway, all the best to you, A$AP Rocky. All the best to you. Now, the jury did say that they saw that it was a crime that had been done, but they could not link it, for some reason, the evidence, they could not link it to A$AP. They wasn't able to, they didn't feel that it was linking to A$AP Rocky, per se, the one that did it. And like I said, allegedly. All this is alleged. I wasn't there. You wasn't there. They weren't even there. So we just go by what they say, what they saw. Little side note, I have been on I've done jury duty before, and I remember one time I did jury duty. The second time I did it, ended up being like 3 days. And I think we got paid like $14 or $15 or something like that. It wasn't a lot. And it's a long, crazy, drawn out story. I'll tell you about it in another video. But that jury, the way they do their selections, it's really, sometimes it can be a little complicated and conflicted. And with a case like this, I'm sure they were probably like, you're happy it's over, you know? But all the best to you, A$AP Rocky, man. However you're moving out there, you know, move a little differently so that you can avoid stuff like this. Because, I mean, hey, you got people that really don't get caught up like this, don't have a case at all. They gone through life. So, I mean, I'm not being sarcastic when I say how you're moving, because I'm sure other brothers could probably take this bit of advice too. If you're moving a certain way, kind of take this as, you know, slow it down or move a little differently. Everybody could take a little bit of that type of advice. You know, we all can. I can take some for that matter myself. And I'm not even out in the streets like that, you know. So, like I said, all the best to you, bro. And to Rihanna. When I did the short, I don't know if y'all saw the short that I did for A$AP when I found out that he was, that he had won the case. I used Rihanna's music in the background. I just thought it was only appropriate, you know. But if you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. And it worked, you know. But I will say this. I was looking at somebody on TV recently, and they were saying, you know, it's so funny how A$AP Rocky wins his case, so we want an album from Rihanna now. I'm not even going there. I'm going to go ahead and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Oh, nah, what's my name? Oh, nah, what's my name? Red Cup Talk with Brian Adams. All the best, all the best. So, moving right along. Chris Brown. Chris Brown is 100 weeks at #1 on the R&B and hip hop airwaves. Uh, Chris Brown has been titled as a legend. He is doing a lot of things. He was just over in Africa with a 2-day concert. Rap Review was over. I did a short for that. He was over there for. I think he did over 90,000 people who came to see him. Within those 2 days of a concert over in Africa, and I saw the video clippings of that. I saw like an hour long of footage they had on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was really cool. Chris Brown over in Africa. That was a good show. And the concert was really wild. He really gives a good show. He really is a big dancer. I saw Drewski, I think his name's Drewski, recently on The Breakfast Club, and he talked about how when he worked with Chris Brown and how Chris Brown would just dance. That's all he do is dance. He was behind the scenes dancing. Like, whoa, save that energy for when they start recording. But I'm like this. I said, well, if you get paid all that money that he getting paid, I'll be dancing my ass off too. I'll be dance. Ho, 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 ho. Ow, 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 ow. Yeah. I'll be a dancing fool too. You hear me? Dance my ass off. They say dance like there's nobody watching. Shit. All that money he getting. I'll be dancing too. But yeah, all the best to you, Chris Brown. Chris Brown doing it up. All his accolades. He's a legend now. I remember when he first started out. From Virginia too. Not the DMV part of Virginia, but Virginia. He's further. I think it's further south, southern part. Like I think closer to Virginia Beach or maybe Richmond or something like that. But I know he's from Virginia, but Virginia is really big, like how Florida and California is. It's really long, so pause. But so that part of Virginia it's not really part of the DMV. The DMV would be like Northern Virginia, Alexandria, Arlington, Crystal City, I think maybe even King George, all that area. Maybe that would be considered DMV. But nonetheless, Chris Brown is doing his thing. The Torian brother from VA. All the best to you, bro. I salute you. Keep doing your thing. Make all that money and be a true legend. Definitely be a true legend that you are. You're turning into a legend. They are calling him a legend. So live up to it. Own it. Definitely. And make that money. Oh, man. Yeah. Moving right along. Wendy Williams. Oh, Wendy. Man, oh, man. I will say this. So Wendy Williams, I remember old Wendy. I'm sure a lot of us do from back in the day. When Wendy had the TV show, not the TV show, the talk show. And you can hear her in New York and some parts of Philly. And I want to say Baltimore. I can't remember if she came all the way down to Baltimore. But I know that you can hear her up there. She was on the radio for a while. And I remember the interview she did with Whitney Houston. Oh yeah, I remember the interview she did with Whitney Houston, baby. That was an interview. I thought it was, and I want to say, I got to give him his props. Hold on, before we get started. I want to say, for the record, shout out to Don Henderson for having the full interview of Whitney Houston and Wendy Williams. If you never heard it, check it out. He had the full. It was like 24 minutes long. Go over there and check him out, because that's where I heard it from. And it was a good interview. Wendy was very professional. I will say that even back then. regardless of who she lashed out at or who she talked, not lashed out at, but who she gossiped about or talked about, who she Tasha K'd about, because she's literally like listening to that interview and some of her interviews she did back then. It was almost like being in the mind frame of today of how Tasha K is. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing. I remember she even referenced, maybe she needed a TV show, but who's to say? And she just kept it moving. I was like, wow, and then just know that one day she was going to have a TV show that ran for 12 years. It made her, garner her a lot of money. Millions, and still be the talk of the town. Her whole brand is changing. It's like she's not the woman that you love to hate anymore. If anything, it's like you just love to love her. People are loving her. People are fans for her. People are praying for her. People are rooting for Wendy Williams. And that's a good thing. Well, I remember it was a time Wendy Williams was like saying a cuss word in the household. I remember that. They didn't like Wendy Williams. She was not liked at all. You think they don't like Tasha K now? I think they didn't like Wendy Williams worse. And that's the truth. Like, when you got celebrities trying to run you out the city and trying to allegedly poison you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I think Wendy Williams had it worse back then. Because even with the talk show, I remember when P. Diddy came on her talk show, even though they was all laughs and Holly, Julie, some of us was still on the edge, like, I wonder how this is going to go. When the first time you said it, it's like, I wonder how this is going to go, because you knew that they had the beef. Wendy Williams came upon some information that was, I guess, some of the stuff that that's released now, that they're talking about. Wendy Williams just came across that type of information back then and released some of it. I'm not going into it, but from P. Diddy, and he wasn't happy about that, of course. And as powerful as he is, I heard that that he was trying to run her up out of New York. I personally think that, this is off the record, but I do personally think that he might got something to do with her situation now, being in this conservatorship or this program that she's in, because it all don't make sense. It don't add up. And we're going to get into it. So I seen the documentary that TMZ did. Of course, I'm a TMZ fan. I got to be. So I'm getting most of the information and reporting on it. But I did see the documentary. I watched it twice because I had to, sometimes some things you just have to really. And I will say this. The graphics, all the footages that the cutting, the editing, everything, because I guess I'm into that space now. Hands down, they did a good job. They did a good job for those that's in that space. They really did a good job with the editing. It was unfortunate they wasn't able to interview Wendy Williams in the same room, though. They interviewed her. She was in the program that she's in. She's up on like the 5th floor. So they had the camera outside on the outside on the sidewalks, and they was able to find which window she's in. And they zoomed in and interviewed her that way. I.e. So they were able to talk to her on the phone. So that's how they got the audio and the visual. And it was very clever how they did that. But I think at one point when they first started, she even got an interruption. Somebody had, I think, knocked on the door or something. She was like, "Hey, I'm good. I'm on the phone. I'm talking." Blah, blah. But she says that she can't talk. She can talk on the phone, but that's limited it. But people can't call her. She can only call out. To be honest with you, I would like it like that, for real. I could just deal with you when I wanted to, But anyway, that about me. We talk about Wendy. Yeah, so she can't call out. I mean, she can call out, but you can't call her. And she's not allowed to go out, like visit out and just go out and get fresh air. Even in nursing home facilities, you see them out in the, in the nice summertime, good summer day or nice spring day. You go to a nursing home and visit, you see the people that's in the nursing home. Now, I'm not going to say old, because you got old ones and young ones now. But you see them out out on the property, sitting out, even if they're just talking to themselves or just staring into space or whatever. You see them out there enjoying fresh air. As humans, we love fresh air. We have to have fresh air and water. I know the water is a little contrary, but we have to have fresh air. It's like fresh air, just what it is. It's fresh air. So when I hear that, I was like, and I'm hearing that from her, not just through third party or through a source, but from her. She stood there in an interview. Now, as I'm watching the interview, the second time it hit me, I was like, well, for her to have the condition with her feet where she can't walk and stand long, she seemed to have been fine there. She stood the whole time, seemed like when she was interviewing, and she even danced a little bit and she said how she was flexible and all that. So, dementia, frontal temporal dementia, and aphasia, frontal temporal dementia and aphasia. I want to make sure I get it right. But, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not even close to that. I don't even know about that. So I'm not even really go down that rabbit hole. I'm not in the medical field. But I do know, and I've been around people that's had dementia, just regular dementia, and I know it can come and go, I guess. Maybe you have your good days and your bad days. But Wendy Williams, she do sound regular. She do sound like she's back to her normal self. Like how she was. And we should see her every day on TV. So it seems like it's more to it. And then I know as I'm listening to more on it and I'm doing more research, that I noticed they didn't say anything. When she first got there, I think she was on another floor, but that floor she was able to maneuver and go and do a little bit more. She had a little bit more leeway. But at one point, she made it up to the top level, and they had a restaurant, and the restaurant served alcohol, and it was like, for Wendy. But my thing is, was that a setup? Because it's like, okay, well, if you coming to visit a place and you're going to come to check it out, it's like, say, for example, we come to check out an apartment or a condo or a house, a townhouse, for everybody. You coming to rent it or buy it or however, you're going to check out everything. You're going to look at the furnace. You're going to look at the thermostat. You're going to look at the electrical system, the electrical boxes. You're going to look at if it has a deck. You're going to see how the foundation is for the deck. You're going to check out. You're going to ask questions about the deck. You're going to ask questions about the water, about your neighbors. You want to see how the roofing is. What's the deal on the roof? When was the last time it was replaced and stuff like that? And you want to know about the basement, if it has a basement, if it has a sunk pump, and how many sunk pumps, and does it do the whole basement or just half the it's flood issues. You're going to ask about things like that. So it seemed like when it came to check out the unit before she was bought there, they would have asked about all this stuff. Is there a restaurant on the top floor? Is there a restaurant in the basement? Is there a restaurant where she's privy to alcohol? So it seemed like it should be. It's like there's more to it than what it is. Now they're coming out with the story that the son, and I feel like they just had to get somebody. I feel like they had to have a narrative for her for this story to hit, and I think they just took a cheap shot at the son. And from what I understand, the son can't defend himself because through the judgment, the whole process, from what I understand, they said the judge said that he wasn't able to defend himself on camera. He could do it, but not on camera. So, and I get that. I probably would have wanted given the same thing, because you don't want it to be a feud of the son against the public or the son against the mom. Or, it can kind of get a little ugly with that. So I can see that. To a certain degree, though, because it's only so much a human can take. You're going to be sitting there talking about me and beating me up and bashing me up and putting all these lies out on me, and I can't defend it. Because who's to say all this stuff is true? That, the son is the reason why this conservatorship program started for Wendy. Because they're saying that he was overspending in her money and indulging in her account. And he had a lady that he was frequent with, and she was in her age group, and they went to the bank and tried, also allegedly, they went to the bank and tried to withdraw money out of Wendy's account as the lady posing as Wendy. And so the bank saw, and of course the son was doing the Uber Eats, the very high number of Uber Eats I had to check mine too because I'd be Uber eating a lot too. So I said, I don't want them to put me in no conservative shit. It's like, no, but I'm not doing, my numbers not high like this. But I was just joking with it. But some of these things were red flags that was being thrown from the bank. And so I'm thinking that that's where it started from. The bank freezing her money, and then maybe something. It's a piece of the puzzle that they're not telling us, and I get that. Maybe for health reasons, because we think about this is all narrowed down to health. And health is, you have those HIPAA laws that you can't really. So all this is really just allegedly, all this is just what I guess Wendy Williams or her team want to reveal to us. We don't know the whole story. You can tell, listen to it, that it's puzzle pieces that's not all in place. But nonetheless, this is Wendy Williams. Like I said, the document is very good. It is on Tubi. I think it was on Tubi. And if you get a chance, check it out. Check it out. Sabrina Morrissey is her guardian. That's, I just had notes, a little notes I was just writing down. But nonetheless, like I said, Wendy Williams, all the best to you. All the best to you. We'll see how this goes. I hope you get out this conservatorship, and I hope you get a second chance at life. You know, hopefully she go forward with her podcast and get her alcohol or liquor coach, get on the right path, and get her back to her money, to her account, and get her son back, and, you know, and good Oto too. She was able to make her dad's 94th birthday, because that was another thing they were, you know, they were mentioning about it at some point, like, would the program allow her to go, and she did come down to Miami and visit with her family, her son, and her dad, and her cousin, her niece. So I'm sure it was a great trip for her. She got her hair done. You see all the videos and the pictures and stuff online. That she got her hair done and all that stuff and highlights and went shopping. Of course, she was this Wendy Williams. And I know it was a bittersweet for her to have to go back home, you know, fly back to New York and go back to that program. But at least she got to see her dad, you know, and that was a step in the right direction for her. So that's all I'm going to say for that. As I get more information, we'll get you up to date and keep you up to date with it. That's it for me. Until next time. If you have any special announcements coming up, special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, any special occasions, or you just want to drop me a line and say how your day's going, send me an email. You can do so. I will leave my email in the description below, but I also want to give it to you verbally. It's smalltalkwithBadams@gmail.com. That's all one word, smalltalkwithBadams@gmail.com. Send me an email, and I'll incorporate it into my next video. Come on, Adams family. Let's continue to grow this channel together.